There is a lot of value in who you are as a person, and it takes us a long time to realize this, and sometimes we never realize it, and that's okay. I'm gonna force it in front of your face right now, trying to impress other people, trying to make friends with people, stay friends with people, trying to get external validation, because that's really what it is. I used to keep friends around. I would keep people around in my life only because it made me feel valued. And a lot of times we don't realize that's really what it is. It's like, okay, well, I'm keeping this friend around and I know that maybe there's something that they're doing that isn't to my benefit. Maybe they're smoking in front of me and I said that I was gonna quit smoking. Or maybe they're drinking around me and I said I really didn't want to be around that. But a lot of the times we stay around certain people. We stay in certain situations because it makes us feel like we have value. It makes us feel comforted. It makes us feel that we're not alone. But you're really abandoning yourself there, and that's true loneliness. Because when you're around people that you're not always getting the best out of, it might hurt that person if you leave them, but what hurts you more is you staying. Sometimes I look back in my past and I wish that I could have told myself, I wish I could have been the bigger brother to my past version of myself and told myself, yo, like, get out of the studio at this time, you know, get out of this situation, leave these people behind. They're not benefiting you. They're not helping you. But sometimes we have to go through an entire period of time. Sometimes we have to go through circumstances in order to show us the truth. And sometimes the truth really stings. Sometimes it really hurts. There is value in who you are as a person. Let's just say you're going after wanting to be an artist, or you're going after wanting to be a creator. Sometimes we'll look at Instagram, we'll look at TikTok. Even I sometimes struggle with doing this. And the first thing that we'll do when we want to chase a dream is we'll look at how other people did it. But that's almost devaluing the fact that you are your own person. You are unique. I've struggled in the past with looking at other artists and looking at how they do it, looking at how they record, looking at how they do things. And it's okay to get inspired. It's okay to get, it's okay to become inspired by how other people think, to become inspired by how other people maneuver. But to straight up copy a person, or to straight up not be able to see that they are different and they aren't like other people, to not be able to see that is a problem, because you are different. You aren't like other people. So if you're looking at a creator, or you're looking at a person, you're like, okay, well, it looks like they know what they're doing, so I kind of want to be like that person. Stop in your tracks, because that's not being able to see that there's value in who you are. There's always going to be value and difference and character in who you are as a person. Because every single person on this planet, every animal, every plant, everything was put here to be themselves, not to be an identical copy of something else. When your parents make you, there are sometimes moments where they might hold you back from doing something. They might hold you back from being a certain way. A lot of the times out of comfort for the fact that they don't want to see you grow because you're their child. But there's that but there, because you have to become your own person. You know why? Because you're not a clone. You're not an identical copy. Every single plant. Now, we might be eating chicken, right? You might eat a chicken nugget when you were 5 years old. And then you might eat a chicken nugget when you're 22 years old. I know this is a really strange analogy, but let me finish here. You eat that nugget when you're 22, it might taste different when you were 5. It wasn't the same chicken. It wasn't the same animal. And maybe the nuggets inside of the box weren't all coming from the same chicken. I know it's a weird analogy, but what I'm trying to say is not even every species is the same. Not even every plant is the same. That's a good thing, because if it was all the same, things would get boring over time. Flavor would become almost non-existent or repetitive. Things would become tiring. If we didn't have different artists, different movies, different shows, different things constantly, things would get boring. A lot of the times in music, people say, oh, things are always the same, things never change, and everything in music is getting repetitive. But that's crap. Things are not repetitive. Things are always different. Now, people might repeat the way that things are said. People might repeat the way things sound. But you can't ever truly identically replicate anything. And that's the beautiful thing with seeing that there's value in every single thing in front of you and every single thing around you. Now, let's circle back to finding value within yourself. There's a reason why you were put here. You were not put here to be identical. You were not put here to be a person who can't change things around them. You were put here to be yourself, and the fact that you are yourself is literally what could change everything about a certain situation. I, for the longest time in my life, haven't really been able to see and figure out that there's value in me as a person. Not a lot of artists, not a lot of creators, not a lot of musicians are able to get behind a camera and be this comfortable speaking my mind and just letting it flow and talking. I hit record on the camera and I had no idea what I was gonna talk about. That's something that I could use to my benefit. I'm not trying to flaunt here and say that I have things that are better than you. You could do the same thing. But what I'm saying is, not everybody comes with the unique gifts that you have. Not everybody holds the same unique ability to speak the way you do, to think the way you do, to act the way you do, to mold things the way you do, to create the way you do. Creation is something that a lot of people think they can't do. A lot of people think that art is only able to be created by artists, that creation and things that happen in the world that's only categorized to a certain amount of people. Some people think just because Steve Jobs invented the iPad or the iPhone, that they can't create something that can change the world in the same way. You are that person holding you back from thinking that you don't have the value and creativity inside of you to create that thing. Just because you didn't do it yet doesn't mean it's not possible. And don't think that if you don't do it, that idea is just gonna sit there. I've been reading this book recently by Rick Rubin, and he's got a great way of putting it. You are a vessel for ideas. You are a vessel for creation and things to come out, for things to bleed out of the world. And if you have an idea, there's chances that billions of other people have that idea. But whoever acts on it is what the world will see it as, if it's theirs or not, if that makes any sense. If I believe that I can create the greatest project in the world and it's got all this melodic rap on it and it's 7 songs long and it has this influenced sound, if I don't act on it, 5, 10 years from now, 5 months from now, somebody else can act on that. And I can't get mad and say, oh, it was my idea. That idea, because I didn't use it, found another vessel for it to breathe through. But that doesn't mean that I don't have value. It doesn't mean that you don't have value in what you're doing, in what you're saying. The whole point that I'm trying to make here is realize that there is value in who you are as a person. And the sooner that you realize that value, the faster you can get to where you want to be. I've been meaning to pick up this camera and just speak to it for months. But every day I tell myself mentally, oh, well, nobody wants to hear me speak. Nobody wants to hear me talk. Nobody wants to hear me go, because the videos that I posted in the past didn't get that many views. The things that I did in the past, in the past, didn't work. But who knows if this could work? How could you know unless you go for it? And if you go for it and it doesn't work out, just keep going. It doesn't mean that you're not valuable. It means that your value hasn't been seen yet. It doesn't mean that you're not capable, and it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Let's just say you were in a relationship and it didn't work out, and now you're alone. I put alone in quotations because you're never alone unless you abandon yourself, unless you realize or don't realize that there's another entity out there. I believe in God. You don't have to believe in God. I believe that there is a spirit and God is out here protecting me. So I'm never truly alone. But you leave a relationship, but you're feeling alone. You're feeling like, there's something wrong with you. And you feel like there's no value in you because this person left you. Just because a person left you doesn't mean that there's no value in you. It just means that they didn't see the value. It means that they didn't see that you're special. Everybody's special because everybody's different. You're special. You're different. The sooner that you realize that, the faster you will get to the next step in your life. The sooner you realize that there's value in who you are as a person, the faster you can create something that can change other people's lives, that could bring value to them. This video makes me feel like I can provide value to other people because I am valuable. That's not me saying, oh, I'm valuable. No, it's saying there's something that I can bring to other people. There's something that you can bring to other people. If there's something internally that you've always wanted to speak on, always wanted to talk about and say, but your parents shut down the idea, but your family, your friends, they shut down the dream. That doesn't mean that there's no value in the dream. That means that they don't see value in it. That doesn't mean that nobody else can. And sometimes that says a lot about what they think of themselves. You're valuable. There's nothing wrong with who you are as a person, but start to see and start to believe and let this be your go-to step. Replay the video as many times as you need. There's value in who you are. And the sooner that you see that value, the faster you'll get to your next destination.